How many do we have on Zoom? Are you managing that? You're letting them in? Congrats on your parking spot. If you're here, you got a parking spot. Congratulations. I was the only one at the church when I parked. So far. Let's wait a few more minutes. Hi, Corey. Guys, it's fun to see faces, all these people. What's up, Hiram? Hi, everybody. Who has a joke? I feel like we should wait for a few minutes because there are people coming. Or should we just knock out announcements? And if they don't know what's going on, it's their fault. Spitting? What's wrong with my spit, y'all? I use mouthwash. Get up here. Oh. Do you know that I would break up with somebody that had that? Both. I haven't had to, so that's good news. Oh, no, 0. Hey, welcome everybody. How is everyone? We doing good? Getting ready? Yeah, we got a lot of room up here. But you're great there. Hi, Candace. Haven't seen you for a minute. Good to see everybody. What's going on? Give us something good. Any shout outs?
I'll start first. About 3 months ago, Jake Peterson had his first baby boy.
Oh, congrats.
Throw out there.
Do you still like him? Yeah. Better every day. Who else? Hi. Hi, come in. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so Edge, let's go, Jack. Let's live it up. Let's give it up for Jack. Come on.
Hey, Jack, we can't hear you.
Can everybody hear me now? Okay, great. So as I mentioned, I handed out a couple of flyers for Wildflower 2.0, but I want to point out a couple of things that go above and beyond. So on this, if you'll just navigate for me, that'd be great. And I'll coach you through this. Okay, so I provide a couple of resources that are above and beyond. I wear a bracelet called Unreasonable. How many have read the book Unreasonable by Will Guidara? It's about on hospitality and hosting and having an unreasonable care and concern for your clients. And in this case, you guys are my clients or our potential clients. So a couple of things that I provide. As you look at this flyer on Wildflower 2.0, you get HOA information, you have a current snapshot price sheet, and you have a site map. Okay? So I would like to take you to the What's New timeline. This I have created a la the Utah real estate, kind of the news timeline. It tells you what they've released, what new features are available, all of that sort of thing. And if you scroll down a little bit here, keep going to Wildflower 2.0, brand new community. I give you a site map. I give you the available lots and the lot details. Each one has a picture. It shows which direction it faces, what's the foundation type, what's the lot premium, all that sort of stuff that you never get on marketing flyers. Furthermore, anytime a lot is removed or an offer comes in, I remove it automatically. Okay, now let's go to the Realtor Partner Portal. This is for the agents that I partner with. Go to Community Dashboards and go to Single Family. Keep scrolling. There's Single Family, Wildflower 2.0. Okay, here's all your available inventory. Okay, build lots, go right here. There's all your available inventory, your property addresses, the available lots. the foundation type, whether or not it's a corner lot, which direction it faces, the lot premiums. If you want to request a showing, click on the button on the left and up pops a calendar to schedule a showing with me. Click escape to get out of that. Okay, if you want to register a client, the form pops up and you can just register a client right there. If you want to review a sample contract, you can just click escape to get out of these windows anytime. If you want to review a sample contract, there's a single family contract right there. Same drill. You just go down that left-hand side. If you want to look at community pricing, get HOA information, see the community disclosures, etc. All of that information is right at your fingertips. I consider that to be an unreasonable sharing of information, and I hope that it is helpful to you. I want to partner with anybody who wants to partner with me, period. And I can help you with any one of our communities. Any Edge agent can represent any Edge Homes listing. If you already have an Edge Homes agent, that's fantastic. If you want to partner with me, I will give you access to these tools and resources that I provide exclusively. I've worked with many of you guys. I appreciate you. I am happy to help any one of you at any time. And as what will be coming up and being discussed, the unasked question that I will answer is Edge Homes, to my knowledge, and by everything that I've heard, is not changing the 3% buyer agent commission. Haven't done it for 10 years, don't anticipate changing it at all. So we appreciate you in an up market, a down market, a changing market, a crazy market. We appreciate you. Thank you. I have to send you access to it. So just anybody who wants to partner with me and gain access to the portal and the What's New timeline that I regularly maintain, just shoot me an email to jack@edgehomes.com. Thank you so much. Enjoy this meeting, and you will have sandwiches back there for lunch, Jersey Mike sandwiches. I like them better than Jimmy John's. Call me crazy. Okay. Townhomes in Wildflower have not yet been priced. They will be upcoming. I anticipate them to be in the mid-4s. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay.
You have to click the screen now.
Alrighty. Happy birthday to Noah, Taylor, Denora, Cammie, Charity, and Alyssa. Kimber.
So I'm just throwing out a quick update. We'll do the training later because we have very valuable info to go through. We have a new email editor in Command. So basically the old one was awful. The new one is great. That's the Cliff's Notes on that. We will send this out after team meeting, so you don't even need to scan this QR code. But this will walk through the things you need to know about the new email editor, how to use it. What I'm most excited about is I love when I can use my CRM to send out all of my touches and communication. If it is in a million different spots, I feel like that's where we end up spending unnecessary extra money. And that's when our systems break, right? So this is why I am very excited about this update. It's awesome. It works. It's beautiful. We'll have a couple trainings. You'll get those slides. Any questions? Okay. Yes.
Okay. I'm sure you guys have been seeing stuff about this. They're working to get a lot of donations. There's a lot of people here in Utah that struggle with getting diapers for their families. So this is something that the Salt Lake Board is working on. So if you have any diapers, you want to donate money or diapers, they'll take them. Yes, but I probably don't know the answer. Yep, just
the big Costco boxes.
Uh-huh.
If you only have like half a box, but they're sealed, can you turn
Yeah.
them in?
Just turn in anything you got. Thanks. Okay, any updates on this? Carrie, K-score? Okay. So if you have anybody that wants to do real estate, did you know that they can go through school for free through a scholarship through Carrie? So, and the pass rate is really high for that too, a lot of resources. So reach out to Carrie. Any questions? Okay, so next week we're closed on Wednesday. And we won't have team meeting on Tuesday, and we're prepping for the week after that. We have a big event coming, so we want to talk about that as well. But next week we will not have team meeting. Okay. Alrighty. So today after class, what do I mean by win more is no more? There's no more win more. Does that mean anything to you? Win more, no more. There's no more win more. Does that mean anything to you? Okay. Okay, that's good. So the whole accounting system changed with KW. It's been in process for years and years, but it's much better, much easier. It's a huge update, a huge upgrade to how you get paid, right? To how the system of the commissions getting processed goes. So Amy's teaching a class today on that, on the specifics. We'll have lots of videos. We'll have lots of, there's emails that are going out. It really shouldn't change much at all for you. Changes a lot for us on the back end, but not much for you. But please, if you are planning to get a commission, which hopefully is all of you, at some point in the future, you should know about what's going on. So if you can't make it today, we'll make sure we keep teaching it. We will also link the recording of the class and things like that, so you have access to all of it. Any questions about that? Yeah, Christine. Yeah, done deal. Raise your hand if you did your first opportunity last month. I did. Okay. So yeah, your TC needs to know it. That's great. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Are you guys aware? Have you been seeing the stuff coming out about this? Please tell me. A little bit? Okay. Are you familiar with Crucial Conversations? Okay, so it's a book that has turned into kind of a training series, and we are bringing the one of the speakers to do a workshop with us. It's really like a workshop, a class, and we specifically wanted, with all these changes coming down, there's some new conversations we're going to be having to have with people. Agree or disagree? Like just right here with Jack when he said, hey, for everything I know, we're still offering 3%. These are the types of conversations that are happening in a different way, right? Because now you're not going to be able to see what somebody's offering on the MLS. How is this changing things for you? We're helping you with the what is changing. That's what today is all about. We're going to give you some good tips and tools and connect you with things that you need to know. There's more than just the knowledge of what's changing. Agree or disagree? Agree. So the way that we have conversations, the way that we think about things has to do with your mindset and how we talk about them. So we have this opportunity to have these guys come. It's costing us a lot of money. It's an important class because we feel like it's really important for us to be ahead of all of this and feel prepared, feel strong, feel motivated. And we specifically chose a program that wasn't real estate related, was business related, to kind of help with a different perspective and things like that, to help with these difficult conversations that could be happening in the future. So we did put a cost to it. We profit share, so it's important that we check our expenses all the time. Also, it means more if you have a little skin in the game. Do you agree with that? It's one of the reasons we have earnest money, right? If somebody just promises to buy a house without any earnest money, how strong is that promise? Not as strong, right? So it's $35. We're offsetting most of the cost, but $35, we have a limited amount of seats. So I see you. Yes, Corey, I see you scanning that QR code. Let's go. Register for that. It's up at the community center in Daybreak, the Ivory Community Center there. And we're going to have lunch. We're going to have a lot of great stuff. We're kicking off a really cool program to kind of help us out through the rest of the year also. And this will be a great opportunity. No, it's not the Daybreak Community Center. It's in the Garden Park. But also just put the address in your phone. I'll take you right there. Anything else? Any questions about that? Yep. I need a pulse on this. This is 3 hours. Who is coming? Okay, perfect. Who's registered? Has anybody registered? Okay. Okay, let's get registered. And if you want to send it to someone, we just want our people to have first crack at it. So we're doing an early bird pricing and the price will go up to 50. So we want to make sure that you guys have a seat. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, really? Okay, start over. Give him a mic. Let's go.
I was just saying that I spent an entire semester at the university
Okay,
using this as our textbook.
Yeah.
And we actually had one of the authors or partners in this book come in, and it was just one of the most valuable classes I've ever taken. It's purely based on this book. So
Awesome. Thank you for saying that. That's great. So there's a total of 7 or 8 skills, and we're focusing on 3 skills that we're going to be talking about and developing. So it's right here close by. This will be a really valuable thing for you to come to. Hope to see you there. Yeah.
We repeat that.
All right. Oh, so she asked if we need the book, if you need the book to be there. Hi, Becky. You don't need the book. There's a lot more in the book. It's going to be really more workshop based and really learning and developing the skills there. I'm listening to it on Audible right now. It's really cool. I'm doing that just for myself, but that'd probably be a good step up, but not necessary. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. And then we have on the 31st, so the following day is the market update. So this will be a really good piggyback. Johnny's doing that market update, talking about what's going on in real estate here in Utah and what the numbers are saying that is going on. So it'll be a great opportunity because they will know how to articulate that, right? Because we just did the class the day before. So get that on your calendar as well. Anything else with that you can think of? Okay, and then Mega Camp, we're at the early bird pricing for Mega Camp. We have a pretty good group going this year to Mega Camp, and they have a lot of classes and also workshops and panels that are centered around this stuff there also. So that could be a good opportunity for you to learn the other side. I know Mike is going to really focus on the open house stuff. So there's a few of these things that are normal in our real estate practices that we just may be thinking about in a different way. And so he's going to really dig into that. But if you want more information on Mega Camp or have any questions, let me know. I'd love to help you decide if it's a good time for you to go or not. Any questions about that? $7.99 is the regular price, early bird, because it goes up to $8.99 after that. Okay, really quick, before we go to the topic here, Kenya, you want to come up and talk about what you got going on? This is great. I know you've been spending some time and thinking through how you want to do this, and it's super valuable. So,
okay, so I'm the chair of Wealth and Finance on the ALC, and we just started this year the Wealth Club. We're meeting on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. We're still kind of figuring out our flow and exactly what we're doing, but right now, every quarter we have a topic, and this quarter our topic is rental properties. So on Thursday, did I say 1? Is it 1 or 12? It's 12. I'm pretty sure it's 12. It's on the announcement somewhere. So it's on my calendar, 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock on Thursday. And this week we have a property manager coming to talk to us about best practices when it comes to managing rental properties. So we'd love to have as many people that want to come out. We'd love to start getting a bigger crowd. We've had a few really great crowds turn out. We're typically doing like a speaker and then a little bit of an internal mastermind. And we're kind of really just kind of self-studying however we want to, whatever the direction of the crowd wants to. But obviously the focus is to use the knowledge that we have as real estate professionals to build wealth, not only for ourselves, but also for our clients. So we'd love to have anyone that wants to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you guys have investment properties or own any properties at all? Because a property that you own may end up being an investment property at some point, right? It's super valuable information. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Okay, so are we ready? I'm so happy that you're all here. It makes my heart swell that you're all here. This is important information. I will tell you that Mike is on it for sure. And he's been researching a ton. In fact, he had to scale it back. He has so much information. He's like, I'm going to have to pull this back in. But thank you so much for leading this and teaching us. Let's give him some woo.
Thank you. Check, check.
You guys hear me okay there? I need to be closer. All right. That'll be good. Let's get to. Okay, for those of you that I see a lot of familiar faces in here. I think I've gotten to know just about everybody, but there's also some unfamiliar faces. I am Mike Carmody. I'm your new principal broker. If we haven't met yet, stick around afterward. I'd like to meet you. Anybody heard that there's been a lawsuit? Okay, this should be not, this is not news. How I want to work, I want to take just a couple minutes. I'm going to go through some points, and then I'm going to invite Kody and Tori to come up and talk about what I think is going to be the biggest issue is our conversations with buyers moving forward. Most of you probably have gotten the link. Is everybody familiar? Have you looked at the NAR FAQs, this whole 90 some odd? I know I've sent it out. If you guys are like me, I got to get it 15 times. I finally started looking at it. There's some really good information in here. Guys, a lot of it's not really pertinent. Now it's just kind of reiterating what these changes are going to be. Originally, I was going to just kind of pick and go through these, but our lovely Salt Lake Board of Realtors, did anybody see the email from the board yesterday? They made it real easy on me today. So I'm going to go through 8 points. Quickly, I might take a couple questions or two, but then I want to get Kody and Tori to come up and talk. So let's get diving into it. So everybody's familiar with this change that's going to take place on August 17th, correct? Okay. Let's just go through this. Offers of compensation from listing brokers may not be included on the MLS. So that little field that says BBC, we used to call it, for those that have been around, the BAC, right? Everybody knows the buyer broker commission is going to disappear. What does that do? How? Okay, I heard the word protection. Okay, it's pretty easy. If we were out showing houses, it was listed on the MLS. We printed out the sheet. It said, I'm just going to use the number 3%. BBC, we didn't have to do anything else in writing, right? You wrote the offer, and our cooperative agreements with brokerages with the MLS pretty much guaranteed you were going to get paid. Pretty cut and dry. It's not going to be the case anymore. Now, one thing I do want to point out in here, listing brokers should explain to their clients the benefits and costs of various type of marketing that can be done for a listing. And this is their verbiage says in, guys, do you think it's going to be beneficial for your sellers to continue to offer cooperative compensation just like we've done, at least for my past 30 years? Okay, as listing agents, if we have that attitude, and the commissions aren't fixed, right? Can we have a standard of practice? I know my standard of practice is I'm going to show the benefits to my seller of continuing to offer a BBC, or cooperative compensation. Let's call it BBC, a buyer broker commission. Okay. They have never had to do that. Okay. They've always had the choice. But the reality is, with the power of our multiple listing service and all of us cooperating, they're going to probably get more showings, are they not? Are they going to possibly get better offers? So I would ask, as listing agents, hang on one second, Todd, continue to have that conversation. We have a fiduciary duty to explain to them the benefits of allowing you to share your commission with another agent. Okay. And it's not illegal to do offers of compensation. We all clear on that? A seller, we just can't do it on the MLS. Can you do it on your website? Yes. Can you answer the phone and say, yes, I have authorization? And, Bree calls me and said, Mike, is your seller willing to offer a BBC, cooperative compensation? Yes, they are. Okay, we'll take it from there. So it can be put anywhere. It just can't be put on the multiple listing service. Okay. Todd, real quick.
Along with that, I guess my confusion says, I think in reading it, it says if it was an IDX feed as well, like it still cannot be publicized on an IDX feed. So if your website pulls from the MLS.
If your website pulls from the MLS, yeah, we're still waiting to get a little bit of guidance on that. But yeah, you got to watch. You can't, if it pulls from the MLS, the quickest way to look at it is you can't edit something that's been pulled from the MLS. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Broadly stated, it just can't, like, IDX from the MLS, can't be manipulated with a specific.
I thought they were putting in a new bill that said concessions. Is that true?
Concessions is.
Yeah. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. All right. I got to watch what I'm going to say here. We're probably going to answer these questions in a minute. Okay. So you can still have your sellers offer cooperative compensation, right? Real quick on this one, if you have a listing, you got a listing right now, August 17th, what we're expecting is, because there is verbiage in our current listing agreement that relates to the MLS, what I'm expecting, I know it's going to be a pain, but we all got to do it to be in compliance. And I have to say, as the broker, I need everybody to be in compliance. As you can see here, they're going to be releasing a, give me 1 second here. We got to put these on. Real estate brokerage compensation agreement. We're going to see an addendum. We're going to need an addendum to our listing agreement that basically removes verbiage that we're putting the BBC on the MLS. That makes sense? So our current listings, if it's not under contract by the 17th, we're going to get that addendum from the board. I was hoping we'd have the forms today. We could talk a little bit about it, but I will get them out to everybody and get everybody up to speed on them. So real simply, if you got listings in effect, they're not under contract by that time, I'm going to need you to do an addendum to the listing agreement that just basically tells the seller, I can't put the BBC on the MLS. Simply put, right? Just have them sign it. If you're taking a listing between now and then, prep them for it. Just explain to them. We'll have some pre-written verbiage on it. Yep. Okay. Next one. Okay. In situations where the listing broker is not offering any compensation to the buyer broker, a buyer may ask the seller directly in the Rep C to pay a brokerage fee to the buyer's broker. Have we been able to do that? Yes. Yes. The buyer's broker, we can ask the seller directly. We have the real estate brokerage payment addendum. I'm not going to mention name. Years ago, there was a brokerage that started where they were only offering a minute amount on BBC. The board, the UAR, gave us this form to where we said we could ask on the buyer's behalf the seller to pay, not the listing broker. We can't interfere, right? We have two things, escrow agreement and the brokerage payment addendum. Brokerage payment addendum is what we're going to continue to use in our offers because the seller is paying it, not the listing brokerage. Okay. So that we have always been able to do that, and we're going to continue to be able to do that. Written agreements with buyers will be required in Utah and nationwide. Technically, guys, they've been required. How many people sign one before, have every buyer sign one before you go show a house? I'm not raising my hand. I'm guilty of it. I've done it. Okay. This is going to be the tricky one because, again, as a broker, I got to make sure you're in compliance. We're going to talk. That's what I'm going to have Tori and Kody talk about is you get a friend that calls, says they want to go see a house. You got to have something in writing. And as of right now, our board is not going to give us just an independent showing document. Maybe down the road, we'll have something like that, but there's no reason why you can't have a buyer broker sign for a day or 2 hours or one particular house. But we are going to need to have, if you're working with a buyer, meaning they call, they want to see the house over here in Daybreak, Before you set an appointment, or before you go physically show the house to be in compliance, you have to have an agreement signed with them. They need to know how you're getting paid. Quick question.
About that. Since it's a compliance thing, are they going to have you, do you have to show it somewhere? Do you have to upload it somewhere? Do you have to?
No, and that's a great question, and more will be revealed. I think it's kind of one of those that the MLS, as a broker, I'm gonna tell, how am I gonna keep you in compliance on every house? There's just gonna be penalties if somehow finds out listing agent turns you in or something like that, guys. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but what I'm gonna say is we need to get those agreements signed before we go show houses. Okay? From a brokerage standpoint, they're not going to require us to be, you know, show me everyone and approve it before you go show a house. No. But like our MLS, if we can incur fines if we don't abide by the rules and regulations. Real quick. No. No, he was asking. Yeah. He had asked, do we need to, if we're just talking with somebody about getting them pre-approved? No, it's when you start showing houses. That's the way I'm interpreting it. If you're taking them out to show a property, you're going to need to have that agreement signed. Okay. I'm going to rattle through these and then we're going to come back. So hold questions for just a minute. I think this is coming back to this one, guys. Sorry, I might have been out of order. If you have a current listing agreement in place with a client on August 7th, you will simply add an addendum to the agreement using the newly approved UAR listing agreement addendum. Jen, that's the one you were referring to. I apologize. I was mixed up on those. So listing agreements, we're going to have that addendum, just removing that MLS verbiage. Okay. Buyer broker agreements in place on August 17th. You have a current buyer broker. Same thing's going to happen. There's going to just need to be a little bit. Guys, if the buyer's always been ultimately responsible for paying the commission with our current, everybody should nod their head, the current buyer broker. Again, we just had that protection that, you know, if X amount of dollars would satisfy that coming from the listing broker would satisfy that. And if it came in short, you always had the right to come back and collect the difference. In other words, if you had 3% on your buyer broker and you always got in the listing page at 2.5%, you always had the right to collect the extra 0.5%. As a broker, that's up to you guys whether you want to do that. We can enforce it, but you better make sure you're having the right conversation with your buyer. Okay, so we're going to have we're going to have an addendum to the listing agreement. We're going to have an addendum to the buyer agreements on it. They're going to be very simple. Again, I still think the biggest issue we're dealing with is the first one, that the BBC field is going away. Okay, I've hit the wrong one. There you go. Okay, so after entering a written agreement with the buyer, the agent may not receive compensation for services from any other source that exceeds the amount or rate agreed to in the buyer agreement. So look at an example. What if you put 2% on your buyer broker agreement? Okay, just say that's the number you put on there. You then are out showing houses and you call the listing broker and the listing broker says, yep, we're offering a 3% BAC. Can you get the extra 1%? No.
This is my question. Can't you write an addendum?
That's what I was going to say.
They haven't told us we can't. Make it easier on yourselves. And the buyer, start with a higher number and have the conversation, right? The crucial conversation. Plug for that class. We got to learn how to explain to them and say, listen, I'm willing to work with you on this, but I charge this amount of money. And if I put something that's way too low in there and I can negotiate, or the seller is willing to pay my higher fee, I can't take that money. Hence, I'm going to go with the higher number. Does that make sense? Okay. Do 5% if you want. It's up to you. Okay. Commissions are negotiable. They're not fixed, but I will caution you to be careful. If you put too low of a number, I think Jen is right. I think and we're just going to have to see how that's the muddy water we're going to be in, guys. Make no mistake about it. We're going to be in. As a broker, I'm going to do my best to stay on top of this and give you guidance. But if that scenario happens, we have 3% on our buyer broker, or 2%, and then we are getting 3. Could we just do a quick addendum? I see no reason why. You know, and again, our division of real estate, where we abide by these rules, really isn't involved in this, right? So is it illegal? It's just against practices if we accept that extra money. So we got to be careful. I'll be giving you some guidance when that situation happens of how we can make those changes. Okay.
This is possibly a muddy water question, but
Bring it on. No, save those for Kody and Tori.
I'm wondering what happens in the background. So let's say that, I mean, the selling side, they're saying, yeah, I'll give you 3%. They send it over. They don't know what our contract looks like. What happens with that? Let's say we never get it updated, and I mean, who's going to, like, basically that would just, in the back end on our side, that would just get paid out to us unless they are seeing that that brokerage addendum, something that says 2%. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Guys, it's gonna.
Well,
yeah.
I'm saying the regulation on this is like, who's going to regulate it? Our own office is going to say, no, we're not going to pay you. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for that.
No, I think in that case is where we're going to need some addend before payments can be made, addendums and stuff. And so, that's the muddy water, guys. I wish I could give you clear answers on this, but for right now, watch the amount. Just assume that if what you put on the buyer broker, and then you're able to negotiate something with the seller, or a bonus gets paid because it's a better offer, assume that you can't keep it unless we can do an addendum. We'll figure out how to do those addendums. Okay.
What about the reverse situation where you say, I want 3, but they're gonna only offer 2?
Mhm.
Or I'm not gonna make my buyer pay the difference in that case. If I'm not, do I have to make an addendum for that as well?
More than likely, yeah, I would say so. Because can we negotiate it, guys? I don't know. I'll give you my experience. I usually put 3% on there. I used to do up to 3%. Guys, we can't do that anymore. We've never really should have, but it was just something that I did, or, different verbiage in there. Now it needs to be definitive. It can't be up to between 3 and 5%. It's got to be pretty much an exact amount. Okay. I don't know. Is the board of realtors or the MLS going to be trying to audit files? I don't see that happening, but as the broker, as we're all members, we're realtors, we got to abide by it. So it needs to be specific. We're going to have addendums, because what they're telling all this was about is everything should be negotiable, and it is, right? So when we get into this muddy water, understand we're going to try to get, I think within probably 4 to 6 months, we're going to have some best practices on how this stuff works.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So before, where it was very transparent what the BBC was going to be, we printed that, and then if there was a question, we had that documented, right?
Yep.
What if we make a call and the listing agent says, yes, they're offering such and such BBC? We show it, we send an offer, and then they say, oh, well, the seller changed their mind and they're either not offering a BBC or it's going to be much less. Like, how do we?
That's a great
handle that?
question. There's the muddy water, guys. So what I'm expecting that we can get is some best practices on buyer agent communication with the listing agent. I do believe that the form, that first one that we talked about, that brokerage payment addendum, that's a new form, is going to solve that issue for us, where there will be, it'll be like the listing agents probably get those to say, if my seller's offering X for BAC, I'm going to have my seller sign it and tell them, when an agent calls me and says, I'm going to show the house, are you offering cooperative compensation or BBC? I'm going to send that over to you. And that's going to be legal, where we as a brokerage say, you signed it, you guys are paying it. So we will have some of that rule. This last one, guys, we're going to have new forms. Okay, we're going to have a change. We're going to have a little bit of a change to the listing agreement. We're going to have a little bit of change to the buyer broker agreement. We're going to get addendums for both of those to help us in this transition. Okay, we're going to get updated brokerage escrow instructions, and we're going to get that updated brokerage payment addendum for the seller. So you guys will get notice when I get notice from them. I don't get forms before you guys. Let's just watch for that. But in the meantime, what I want to focus on is, I think from my conversations with you, the biggest concern is going to be we lose that protection. And that's where I'm going to, one other point I want to hit real quick, because everybody's asked about this with open houses. Okay. Open houses. As of right now, if you're hosting your own open house, and I do believe, in my opinion, if you're hosting an open house for somebody else in this brokerage, You do not need to have an agreement signed from somebody when they walk through the door, because technically you're subagents of the seller. Okay, the NAR FAQs go through that a little bit more. So for right now, just continue to do your open houses. They talk about this working with a buyer. You meet a buyer at an open house and you start discussing the services that you can provide. Before you start taking them out to go show other houses, that's when you need to have that agreement signed. Okay? Clear on that? Any questions on it with the open house?
To go along with that, do we know how this is going to work with new construction? With our
Where's
clients?
Jack? I will point out with Jack, with new construction, guys, it's pretty similar to the way it's been. Not all builders put their stuff on the MLS, right? How did we approach it with builders, or at least how I did it?
Builders have to sign a buyer broker agreement with everyone who walks through their door. So if we already have one in place and then a client of ours walks into theirs, I know that's why new construction is different. That's why I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's saying if somebody walks into new construction, no, because they're subagents of the seller. If you're an agent of the seller, you don't have to represent that buyer. If you start getting into where you're working with them to represent them a buyer, immediately kicks off. You got to have an agreement signed before you start showing them other houses.
Can I tell you what we're doing as a builder?
That'd be
My
great.
builder. So if for the builder, actually very little is changing because the majority of the stuff is not on the MLS, like he was saying, but being able to market it on the website as just like generally, this is what we do is a really easy thing. I think the question that's going to come in is that like piggybacks on what you asked or a question for you. I think the difference with the open house, so whether it's a builder or not, is regardless of if it's a builder or not, is you have to be in the same brokerage.
Yeah.
So the whole sub-agent thing is if you're in the same brokerage. Yeah. But that happens like people do open houses for other agents a lot. So that doesn't apply. Even if it's like for another KW office, it doesn't apply. And then also sometimes a builder has a brokerage, but they hire an agent from a brokerage like me to represent the builder, but they do also have a brokerage. That's where things are going to have to shift a little bit.
Yeah.
And
That's some of that muddy water, guys, and we'll get through it, right? And just as we go, I think over the next 4 to 6 months, what's going to come out, some best practices on how to do this. I want to get moving because I want to have Kody and Tori come up. If you guys would, why don't you come up while they're doing that? Again, open houses, you're good. When it comes to doing this, just a quick, take this as a broker moment, guys. Don't do open houses for another person if they're not in this brokerage. It's too much liability. It's, we got E&O, you got 2 different brokerages involved. And I think that's pretty cut and dry. If it comes into a new construction scenario where we have that, we're going to look to try to get some documents in place. But I think there's plenty of agents here. We've got plenty of open house opportunities. So just make sure you're not putting yourself in a tough situation by hosting an open house for a listing that is not of this brokerage. Okay. All right. So guys, the forms. I'm sorry I can't answer definitive all of your questions on this stuff, but really it's pretty easy. The BBC is going away. We're going to have to talk. We're going to have to communicate. The documents that we get are going to help protect us. So,
hey, Mike, real quick question.
Got a question? It sounds like Jared.
Yes, sir.
Jared.
Hey, so we're talking about sub-agency real quick. So if someone's holding an open house for another brokerage, that doesn't imply sub-agency, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I got. Thanks, bud.
Thank you. Yep. So Kody and Tori, if you guys don't know them, they've been with our brokerage for a while. They do both residential and commercial real estate. So this whole discussion we had about this buyer broker commission not being on the multiple listing service sounds a little bit like the commercial world. Would you agree? Because in commercial real estate, and I know we've got other commercial brokers in here, is there a definitive multiple listing service where you have protection where you're going to get paid on every deal? Okay.
Hey, Mike, I'm so sorry. Can I just show something really fast? Then we can end this really fast.
Yeah.
So on the KW Home Hub site, if you go into the agent hub at the top right here, see this, how it has NAR settlement resource page. When you go into that, it has everything linked. So it has the FAQs, it has what came out yesterday from the Solid board right here. Those questions, it has the FAQs. And then so additional information that comes, the brokers will help us decide what we want to go on here. But just so you know, it's right there on the top. Again, it's in if you just go to the Home Hub, you click on Agent Hub, it takes you into here, click onto the settlement page, and it gives you all of that stuff just right here.
Thank you. Awesome. Do you guys have, you have a microphone? Okay, so thank you for coming in. Talk to us a little bit about the conversations that you have when you're working with a commercial buyer.
Yeah, so is this working? So all I do is commercial real estate. Tori still does a bunch of residential real estate, and most of our commercial deals aren't on the MLS. Occasionally some of them are, but you always have to negotiate your commissions. You just call up the agents, ask them if they're paying a co-broker, a broker co-op or a buyer's agent commission, and have them send you a quick email or a text with it. And then you go show the property. If there's agents and there's occasionally agents in commercial that aren't paying any, brokerage commissions. So we either have to have that conversation with our clients and say, hey, this one is not paying a brokerage commission, and negotiate that with your own clients. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because this is all we do in commercial.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question. Yeah.
Do you guys run, because what I foresee happening down the line is we're going to see discount buyer agents pop up, like we saw discount listing agents pop up, and they're going to say, well, I'm going to help you buy a house for $500. So it doesn't matter what the seller's paying. So do you have commercial agents that do the same thing in your business?
Yeah. You're just going to have to decide whether you want to work with that buyer. If someone's going to go, do a transaction with an agent that's charging them $500, that's you either have to provide enough value and help them understand why you don't want to go with that agent and the value you provide and why it's going to be worth paying you what you get paid. Otherwise, don't work with that buyer, because there's plenty of people out there that will be happy to pay you. Like, me and Tori just took a $26 million listing and we charged a full 6% on it. And it's because when we pitch our clients, we sell them on the value. We know what we're talking about. We go through the intricacies of the transaction. We help them understand that it's more than just sticking it on a website and getting an offer. There's so much more that goes into it. And I think the more and more educated your clients are, do educational selling to them and help them understand all the different steps, how many calls there are in a transaction, all the things you have to do, like looking at comps, sending comps to an appraiser to get values where they need to be, negotiating with lenders on rates, comparing loan sheets with different lenders. These are things that buyers don't even realize that they need until you help educate them on things. Tori used to be in the mortgage lending business, so she'll always help people, look at the fee sheets. And yeah, sometimes it's a great rate, but they're building out so many closing costs to pay for that rate, to buy that rate down. And it's really not a better deal. So you got to help provide that value of why work with me over the discount broker. I would be concerned, if somebody's willing to just, throw out that they're going to help you buy a house for $500. How well do you think that agent's going to negotiate on your behalf? How much work do you think that they're going to be willing to put in when they're only making X amount of dollars? They're going to try to pressure you into buying something because, well, they're doing it at such a discounted rate and they don't want to do a lot of work because they're not making the extra money. You either pay for a professional or you pay for a non-professional. And there's a difference, and your experience is going to be completely different as well.
So two things on that that stood out to me is, remember when we first got this lawsuit announcement a couple months ago, and Keller Williams talked about the value squared, right? You guys familiar? Did you do the value squared? We started talking about value, right? Okay, we've been talking that for a couple months. Now it's going to hit. We're going to need to be having these value conversations, just as he talked about, because yes, are we going to have discount? We've got discount listing brokers. There's probably going to be discount buyer brokers. Guys, you got to sharpen your saw. You got to get your skills in place. Crucial conversations, another plug for that class. Learn to have these conversations. You need to portray your value, right? The second thing I heard on there is, guys, you don't have to work with everyone. I know transactions can be down a little bit, right? And we've all been in that. I've been in that part of my business where I'd sure like another 4 or 5 deals going on. And somebody would come along and I would waste a lot of time just because I felt like I had to take on every deal. Okay. You have the right to say no to people. Okay. So you
I
don't
want
have
to
to work
mention
with
something
everyone.
about that. So we rarely ever discount our commissions less than 6%. But if that's what it takes to get the deal done, or if I'm gonna not get a nice sized listing because of it, we'll discount. Especially when we're selling hotels, that community is very, very hard negotiators. That's typically where we discount. But it seems like any of the clients that we discount commissions for always end up being the biggest pain in the ass clients. They are the worst clients to work with. And just there's plenty of people that are happy to pay you the full commissions that see your value. They're going to be great clients to work with. It's a lot of times a red flag for me when someone's hard negotiating my commission. They don't see my value because they're going to be a nightmare the whole way through. Is that true? Every freaking time.
So Tori, I want to ask you on this, with you're still doing the residential, and that's where you got your start. I know both of you got your start in residential, but run us through a conversation you're going to have with a buyer now that, after August 17th, a residential buyer.
Gosh, we're so listing heavy right now, but I would say that, if that does come up, that they're like, oh, if I don't want to pay you the full 3%, what would I say? Well, I think for me, it's trying to figure out, well, what is my minimum standard? Am I okay taking less than 3%? And if so, then that's when I just start talking to them about how passionate I am of what I do. So I think when I'm talking to my clients and things like that, it's based off of like the value that I bring. So for me, I obviously was a mortgage underwriter. So the value that I bring is that I can, I don't care if you use my lender, I'm able to help you save money through shopping different lenders if that's what you want to do. So that alone could save them $5,000 or $10,000. And I've done that already. But not only that, but like the relationships that you have with contractors and things like that, like say that there's a roof or an HVAC issue. We have really great contractors where we can help save them $3,000 to $5,000. But again, even like what Kody was saying about running comps and things like that, if you've got an overpriced listing, say it's at 625, would they even know if they're working directly with the agent if it's really overpriced? What if that house really could come in at $600,000? Then I saved them $25,000 by negotiating on their behalf. So I think it really just depends on everything that you guys can bring to the table, which is all of that. Like you guys all can run comps. You guys can all compare fee sheets. It's my value is just that I was a mortgage underwriter. And so that just builds a trust. If you guys can help build trust in yourself and that confidence, people love passionate people. And so if you're passionate about that, then why wouldn't they want to use you? And if they don't, then that's not your client. Like go find someone else that's going to see your value or work on getting more listings. Like listings, you can control the commissions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Take listings. If you take listings, the buyers will come to you. They will come to you and you control the inventory. You don't have to worry about this. We try to be highly focused on being listing heavy. I was sitting here, I just counted up our listings, and between Utah and Wyoming, we're licensed in both states. We have over 40 commercial listings. I don't even know how many residential listings Tori has. But we take the listings because we go on our commercial deals, we go double side 70% of those. So we keep mostly 6% commissions. Whereas when you're working with just buyers or buyer heavy, you get what the listing agent's willing to pay you. When you're the listing agent, you get to decide whether you're going to offer half of your commission to the buyer's agent or less than half of your commission to the buyer's agent because you control the inventory. So go take a lot of listings, be focused on being listing heavy, listings to last.
Yeah, like it. Good. Questions? Let's hear from you guys. And I'll bring the microphone up there.
So on the listing side, what is your advice to your seller for how much you are willing to, pay the other side, if at all? I mean, what's your advice going on right now?
Oh, yeah, we absolutely see the value in sold the 6%. Think about when Homey was doing the discounts at $1, $500 or 1%. Were you guys motivated to go show those listings? Probably not, right? And so what would you prefer? Like talking to your clients, what would you prefer? Someone where you can have 20,000 people wanting to see this, or 20 people, whatever, versus one or two. Like no one's going to go show that listing. Like honestly, like we wouldn't even want to show that listing if they're not, paying a commission. Even when we saw like 1%, to be honest, like I didn't want to show those listings, and you kind of would want to have your clients see other listings. So it's going to be the same thing. Like I just had a conversation with my client about that last week when they're talking about the NAR stuff, and they're like, okay, like you provide so much value, and they see that they honestly just trust you. So, and if they don't, then honestly, that's not your client.
That's perfect, but I would just switch the verbiage from you not wanting to show it to your buyer not wanting to see it, because they would have to make up the difference. Do you know what I mean? Instead of, yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
And remember, you got to tell your clients, agents are in business to make money. They support their families by doing this. And if you're not offering a buyer's agent commission, why would the brokers want to bring your buyers? When I was selling in the height of my residential career, I was selling 70+ homes a year with just me and Amber, my assistant. And I cannot tell you how many deals that we didn't go show because they weren't paying a buyer's agent commission. And you have to make sure that you cover the brokers, because when I was selling that many residential homes, we're probably only double siding 15 to 20% of those deals in residential, because there's a lot more residential brokers out there. You've just weeded out most of your buyers are going to be willing to pay the highest price by not offering a buyer's agent commission. So I don't always get into, how much I'm willing to pay the buyer's agent commission. I just say, hey, we charge 6%, and we give a co-broker co-op commission to the buyer's agents out there, because we realize that we want to not leave any money on the table and want to get your property sold for the highest amount of money possible. And I don't want to limit the amount of buyers that bring offers because we're not willing to split our commission with the other brokers. In commercial, there's sometimes agents that don't split commissions, and we don't go show those deals, and they're screwing their sellers. And I tell my clients that when I'm taking the listings, those agents, they're not paying a buyer's agent commission or broker co-op. They're screwing their clients, and they're leaving money on the table, because a lot of times the buyers working with brokers are going to be getting higher offers in, or there's going to be a lot more offers. So you got to pitch it to them and help them understand why the benefit of that is. You're trying to save the extra 3%, but you might be losing 10% of your sales price by not doing that.
So that goes back to that first point today for something I feel strongly about that we need to do is continue to have my conversation with my listing clients is not changing. It's going to be the same as it was. The value of allowing them to have me offer a buyer broker commission, just like it's been. Is everybody familiar? Remember a couple of years ago, they even put the initials down there. You had I'll just use 7%. And then 3.5% for the buyer broker commission. That's still going to be the same. What I get from you is still the same. You're educating your clients on the value of doing that. They don't have to. You don't have to take the listing, but they're going to have much greater exposure. That point one that the NA or the board sent us that we went through today talks about that. Our fiduciary duty is to explain that to our clients. So as listing agents, I think we really kind of hold the power. Okay, we do. If we continue to do it and we just offer the cooperative compensation, BBC, that we've been doing for years and years, I think things are going to be a lot easier. Okay, we'll get with some of the forms. I'll keep you guys updated on the changes, but I just want to press that fact.
One other thing I want to mention is when you're working with buyers, let them know that most agents are still offering buyer's agent commissions because they realize that they're doing their clients a huge benefit by offering that commission to the other brokers so that they could bring other buyers. So don't stress about the agents that aren't willing to pay it, because all of you guys are going to still offer a buyer's agent commission. You're going to be savvy enough to talk your clients into paying the buyer's agent commission, or be willing to give a split of your commission to get the deal done, because that's sometimes the right thing to do with your client versus letting the house sit on the market and have it expire. And 100% of some commission is always better than 100% of no commission.
Right. Good deal. Question over here, Dylan?
Yeah, just kind of going off of what you guys are saying, I think a useful conversation that might be worth having is if the buyer really loves the house and they can't afford that cash to pay the BBC, to work it into the purchase price and get the cash from the seller so they don't lose out on that deal, but they don't have to pay that cash.
Added it to the purchase price. We do that all the time.
Yeah. Guys, that brings up a point. Touched on it before. Sorry, not commissions field, concessions field. Yes, we are going to get a concessions field, okay, on there. I think it's going to be, it's a wait and see. But what we expect is there is going to be, it's not going to be a yes or no. I think it's going to probably be a dollar amount, or maybe they will make it a yes or no. But they told us that the MLS is going to give us a concessions field. Until we see what it looks like, we got to be careful with it, because if you put a listing on at 700,000 and then you put, what's $42,000 in the, or not half of that, $21,000 in the concessions field, what do you think that means?
Buyer's gonna want that.
Buyer's gonna want
You gotta be careful of that, right? Again, it's going to be up to us to have the conversations. I mean, the MLS is probably going to give us disclosure. This is not to be used as commissions. Concessions is the seller willing to pay. So I really think that's going to be irrelevant. And I'm going to caution everybody to be careful, because if you put something in there and it's in writing, does the seller have to do it? Is it based off, is it a full price offer? Is it an over full price offer? So more will be revealed on that, but we have been told that they are going to give us a concessions. I would almost like to just see it as just a yes, no. Is the seller willing to entertain concessions?
Hey, Mike. Sorry. Hey, the thing when you're thinking about like the sellers, so particularly a lot of it is gearing more toward how we think about and talk about commercial, and also how builders do things. So I get questions a lot about like if somebody 3% off of the deal if they don't have an agent. That comes up all the time with builders, right? And think about commissions as a payment. Commissions goes into the pool of the marketing dollars. So when it takes a couple of years to get a development going, right? So about something a couple of years that's been in the works. When they're figuring the community is going to be the homes, how they're going to price it, cost us to market that, and part of that marketing is the fee paid to an agent, right? And so they take the average. So like if we have 40% or 50% or 60% of our houses have a co-op agent, they average that price out and build that into it. They don't add 3% on top of every single home. That's not the way builders do it. So part of this is when you're talking to your sellers and when you're thinking about it yourself, and it's a cost for marketing commission, right? So when you're talking to it's not a buyer's commission. When you're talking to your seller, this is what the cost is going to be to market your property. This is what I suggest. this amount is going to be for pictures. This is what I'm going to cover from the cost. These are the things that I cover. Part of it that we've noticed is different menu options for commissions. So we're prepping a lot of that and helping you be prepared with that, having some forms and stuff if you want to offer different levels of service, what the cost is for different levels of service, things like that we're working on. But as you're kind of going about it and thinking of it, think about it as, what is it going to cost to get this home sold? What's the marketing budget going to be? And in that, there's compensation to go toward an agent, if they're the ones that bring the buyer. If somebody comes and buys it and there's no agent, then we can talk about what that amount goes to. But it's just a shift. It's a way of thinking to help educate our clients, our sellers in particular, instead of saying we're going to offer a commission. It's not separate from the cost to market the home. Does that make sense?
So, something I want to mention as well is if you're the listing agent, because now you don't have to, set that defined buyer's agent commission on the MLS. When agents call in, you can say, yeah, we have a buyer's agent commission. Your commission's going to depend on how good the offer is. So make sure to bring us a strong offer. And then you're telling your sellers that, like, hey, the stronger the offers we get, we're going to pay a full commission. Or if they get, lower offers, we're going to save you some money and pay a lower commission and negotiate that.
Might get a little sticky in the listing agreement is what my kind of question was, because
Hang on one second, Hiram. Let's see if Aaron gets you the.
I mean, this could easily be fixed with a new listing agreement, but the listing agreement, like, and again, they probably wouldn't ever know. But if you said, 6% overall, 3 to BBC, and then to your point, you're like, well, your offer sucks, I'm giving you 2%, like, and you take 4%, like, technically in the contract it doesn't say that, but no one really ever know. I'm just kind of curious, like, I mean, do you think we're gonna get new listing forms as well?
Yeah, we're gonna get, and I think they're probably gonna break that out a little bit more. I'm not sure. What he's talking about is
changing the BAC,
being able to change the BAC. We talked about this, and sorry, I keep saying BAC, it's just habit. Same thing, right? In a scenario where I have a listing and let's just say it's 6%, and I have an agreement from my seller that I have permission to offer up to 3% BAC.
Oh, the verbiage says up to.
You can.
Good.
You can do kind of whatever you want on the listing end. Buyer part different. And Tori calls and says, hey, do you have cooperative compensation? And if so, how much is it? And I say, well, yes, I have permission to offer cooperative compensation. How much are you asking for? And she says, well, 2%. I say, great. I'll send you over an escrow instruction showing 2%. Does that mean I get to keep 4%? Yeah, guys, it's negotiable. Okay. Those are some crazy, again, there's the muddy water that's going to happen. We can get through this. We're going to have all these little scenarios with that. It's just, we're going to have the communication. Again, listing agents, you have the power. We have the ability as collectively as people that can go out and list properties, listing agents, control the inventory, right? We control the inventory. We can control the terms. We can ask our clients, show the value, continue to offer the BBC.
On the flip side, quick note though, like depending if the market, shifts, there's a motivated seller 90 days on the market. Cool. Can you ask, I guess if you maybe in your contract, you could ask for 4%, be like, okay, your house isn't selling, you're not gonna get paid until your buyer finds it.
Yeah.
I have the leverage now.
Did buyer agent commissions drop a little bit during COVID? Yeah. For those of you that have been in if you were back in and around like 2011, 2012, when there was like 18 gazillion bank-owned properties, did buyer agent commissions go up? We see 4% BAC was common. Okay, commissions they're gonna vary with the market a little bit. But other questions? Clear as mud. Pedro?
I'm imagining in my operation that would be buyers that they would say, okay, I will go just for the properties that will be paying your commission because I'm not going to be willing to pay your commission as a buyer agent. So, okay, let's focus on the properties that are willing to pay this BBC. So I'm going to have this conversation with the listing agent. So in my mind, I would say, okay, are you willing, are you going to be paying the BBC? Okay. He say, yes, how much? 3%. Let's say, okay, I'm going to send you a form so I have in writing.
Yeah.
That way we can meet on this conversation. So what would be that form?
Great question. So what he's asking is, are we going to have a form? They're coming. They're coming. We can use it really escrow instructions, but I think they're going to make some changes based on this new dynamic. So I hope that I was hoping we were going to have them for today, guys, honestly. I thought maybe we would have saw them yesterday and we'd have a chance to just dissect them a little bit. But to answer your question, yes, it's going to be coming, which leads me to a question for you guys with that, right? So no MLS, but you guys had mentioned you call the listing agent, say, are you seller offering, or you are the seller offering a commission on this? And they say, yeah, you mentioned send me an email. Okay. How is, or a text, has that been pretty good? Have you guys run into issues where are you able to rely on that to get paid?
I would say most agents aren't going to tell you that they're willing to pay X amount of dollars and then screw you and change it. I have had some agents over the years that have done that. So I try to get, maybe go show the property, and before I go, write up an offer, send me an email showing me the commission amount, because then it's in writing.
Or sometimes if we're really not sure about this agent, we'll send over what's called a single party compensation agreement. And so we'll have, with this offer, with this client, will you be willing to pay a 2.5%? And then the seller is actually the one that signs it. So we'll get that back before we send over the offer.
Terrific. Yeah. Yeah.
And remember, guys, there's still, agents that are offering 1% commissions, but your clients still want to go see their properties, and that's what the agent's offering. You can still always write up in the offer, your commission, because sometimes the sellers don't know that their agent is only offering 1% and they're taking 5% or 4%, and we'll write it into the offer and try to make it work, because sometimes the sellers aren't aware.
Yeah. In residential, it does. Yeah. What they were talking about is commercial. It's still a little bit more of the Wild West, right? Residential, we're going to have that on our listing agreement. And kind of back to Pedro's question is, yes, guys, is trying to get everything in writing. Okay. Again, that's why we're getting some updated forms from them. And I'm really starting to think about this, is all of this really becomes a moot point if we as listing agents go out and do our job. Are we going to have any issues if 95 to 98% of the sellers out there continue to offer cooperative compensation like they have for the past 30 years? This is all a moot point.
And have a frank conversation with your buyers. If they're concerned about signing your buyer broker agreement, say, hey, most of the agents are willing to pay a buyer's agent commission. If there is a house or a property that is not willing to, are you willing to cover that commission, or will you be allowed, open to trying to build that into the price to get that property, if that's the perfect property for you? Or would you rather me not show you those properties?
And honestly, most of the time, I know concerns are about appraisals, but with appraisals, the appraiser actually, like if you were to get concessions, they take the concessions out of, like they expense it out. So your bottom line, when they're comparing comp to comp, they minus out the concessions. So your commissions are okay to be obviously in the concessions, because the lenders even said that won't even be part of their 3%. There's the max of 3%. That's not even going to be a part of that. So that is all really helpful, which will be really nice.
Tyler? Sorry, Josh. Got you on my radar.
I have a quick question on so with the listings now, I know we can't put a BBC at the bottom anymore, but could you put that in the notes? So in the description, you can't even put it.
No, I'll shut you down on that. They've been pretty explicit with it. Nowhere in the MLS advertisement can you put anything that has to deal with commissions. They are giving us a concessions field, right, guys? But I don't see the concessions field being this secret little thing when you see a number that's roughly 2.5 to 3% of the list price. Guys, some people are going to do it. I'm going to encourage against it because we just got to be real careful with it. So can't put anything in there. I did see that it looks like they're going to allow in the agent remarks. What I'm going to put in there in bold letters in the agent remarks, call or text Mike before showing. Call me, text me. I know the question you're going to ask. I'm going to be ready to answer it. And I'm going to tell you what my seller's offering for compensation. You're simply going to go show my house and write an offer on it. And we'll figure out whether it's going to be an escrow instruction or if for some reason my seller says, I don't want to offer anything, but I'm willing. I get your point, Mike. Let's make them put it in the offer and ask for it. When you call and text Mike about my listing, I'm going to tell you, I don't have any authorization for cooperative compensation. The seller has said that they would entertain paying an offer, so you need to put it in the offer.
I have a question. This is Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
I know we can't have this on the MLS, but Aligned Showings does have an auto responder when somebody sets an appointment. Can we put a note as an auto responder on the third-party app?
I'm going to say right now on that, guys, I don't know because Aligned Showings is owned by the MLS. Where I got to wait to get some guidance. That was when this all first came down. That was my first thought. That was my first thought on how to communicate that. It's yet to be seen whether that will be allowed. I will be watching out for that. So best I can tell you. Go ahead, Josh. Mm-hmm. Yes. Do you post it on there in big blinking letters? I believe that, yes, I'm not 100%, but from what I'm seeing on it is we are going to be able to have directions to go to a website. Again, listen, guys, I think our MLS is trying to help us, right? Letter of law is no BBC advertised in there. They can't track it. They can't send that. They can't have a third party that's amalgamating that data. But what Josh is talking about, are we going to be able to put in to go to our list, go to a website to be able to see, and then can we edit that to share? I believe so as of yes. Don't hold me to it because I don't know for sure. I don't believe so. I'm going to say no because again, they're pretty cut and dry. What they're talking about anywhere on the MLS.
Hey, Mike, I got a question here.
Kody.
Are you able to advertise on the MLS, like in the agent remarks, that there could be a commission paid as long as you don't say how much? Call agent for details.
No, you can't. You could say concessions. You just can't say commission. That's really what the gist of it that I'm getting.
Could we say, we'll make sure that other agents are taken care of, give me a call?
Yeah, listen, we're going to see all sorts of stuff. All I'm going to have you guys, here's my rule. Come see me about it first, because what I don't want is starting to get calls from every other person. Just be careful what you say. I wish we had more. And guys, they're even telling us to anticipate there could be some changes in this before August 17th. We know we're getting the new forms. We know BBC's going away. We've been talking about that today. A lot of these little questions, that's the muddy water we're talking about. But Josh, thanks for bringing that up, because that is concessions versus commissions. We're just going to have to be careful on how we approach that, because I look at the liability we have. If we take a listing on it, and where in writing do we have, is it going to be in our listing agreement where the seller is saying that they're paying concessions? Is the seller thinking that's going towards commissions? They don't know, guys. They're looking at our guidance on it.
Nope.
He's got the mic though.
Yeah,
So let's
that's
go
all
to Tyler.
That's right. I'm patient.
Patience.
This isn't my original question, but because of that, I'm guessing you can't say buyer concessions and agent concessions.
I'm going to probably give a hard no to that.
That would be too blatant.
Yeah, they're really, if you look, guys, and I'm going to ask everybody to do this. Take a half hour. Go to the Home Hub, plug for Home Hub, right at the top, NAR FAQs, that whole document that I put out there. They're talking about this, and it's I got to read between the lines a little bit on it myself. I'm not an attorney, but they're pretty much just talking about this. It can be concessions to be paid. Now, concessions can be used for anything, but they're not going to allow us to delineate it as agent concessions or buyer concessions. It's all to the buyer.
Just put in the agent remarks. We love working with buyers agents. Make sure bring your buyers, call me.
Yeah. See that? I'm pretty cool with, man. That's just could probably do that too. So some of that, as you can see, because really at the end of the day, pick up the phone, call, or send a text, just like we're doing now. And if you're not doing it, start. Tyler?
So my original question, how do you anticipate on the residential side, do you anticipate that commission being shown up in, like if we ask for it in an offer, our offer is, here's our addendum that is the brokerage payment addendum, whatever that's called, or escrow instructions, which one would be better in an offer standpoint, just to solidify that up front?
The way it stands right now, the difference between it, if you guys, it was, I think the first broker moment that I did, and I get it, I still get a lot of questions on this, is you have a listing agreement that's in effect. This is as of right now. Okay, a list agreement's in effect, and it's, let's say it's a 1% BAC. You're representing a buyer. You want to ask for more commission. How do you do that? I'll give you the quick answer. You have to do it with the brokerage payment addendum in the offer, because you have to ask the seller. If Tyler's only listing agent, he's offering me 1% BBC, I can't put in the offer BBC to be 3% because I'm interfering with a listing contract between Tyler and his seller. Ethics, rules, illegal, can't do that. Can I put it in the offer and ask the seller to pay in addition to, is the key on our document, right? The brokerage payment addendum says this is in addition to anything else being offered, i.e. MLS, BBC. So if he's offering 1 and I put 2 in there, I get my 3%. Okay, so I don't know if I answered your question, but if you, but this is a moot point in 30 days, 31 days from now, because that BBC is gone. So the question you might be getting at is, we've been told for a long time we can't interfere with a listing agreement and brokerage payment, right? You know, we can with escrow instructions if it's been negotiated, and we can fix that with escrow instructions, but that's between the listing agent and I. I'm going to get really convoluted on this, guys. We've been told for so long, you keep commissions out of the offers. Well, when we had the other brokerage that was mentioned before, did the low BBC, they gave us the brokerage payment addendum. We can ask the seller. That is still going to be in place. Escrow instructions, I think, are going to change a little bit. And there is some fact where we may be able to open up and negotiate with the listing broker. We have not been able to do that, but I'm sensing there's going to be a little bit of a tweak of a change in there. If I've confused you all, I apologize, but it's all going to change. So most of it I really see is probably just going to be handled inside the offer. Okay. We are kind of coming to that, and I want to thank you guys. This is just a huge Q&A. You gave us a glimpse of the commercial side. Any final thoughts, recommendations? Should we all freak out?
Stop stressing out. It's not a big deal, guys. You're still going to do business as normal. It's just different tweaks. So don't be in a scarcity mindset. Go out there and crush it.
Like it.
Show your value and just focus on listings.
Show your value, focus on listings. Great advice. Thank you. I just want to ask one last, was there anyone in here that had their question up and I did not notice you and you're dying to ask it? Okay, I'll be around. We'll all be around. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Is that a wrap for us today, Emily?
I was going to quick. No, it would be helpful if maybe you were sending out a broker say, hey, what's your question? And then kind of do like a little brokerage. Like, hey, here's all the questions that came in from our brokerage. Here's kind of my answer. That would be helpful.
Yep, I'm going to be doing that. Sorry, I went over. Do I just turn that off? Right?
Wait, are you guys going to keep the same Zoom up for Amy's class or start a new Zoom?
Maybe I'll leave it. Well,
Hold on.
And I think he said he brought you for 30.
Okay, thank you. And I need to pull up my email to pull up my Canva presentation.
Darren, are they going to keep the Zoom up for Amy's class?
Mid Valley.
Already?
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to be ending this.
Yeah, and then opening the prep.
Hey, Daylise, I'll send out a separate Zoom if you're for you, okay?